learn to clean house, learn to care for babies. And he said to my mother, when I was 14, they sat me at the kitchen table, and I was getting ready to go to high school, and he said to my mother in front of me, you know, she doesn't need to go to high school. She's just going to have babies. If you want to send her, but she's not going to need it. Because all he knew was field work, right? And he worked at a steel mill in Chicago. My mother said, my mother had a bright future in her mind for me. She said, if Mary goes to high school, she'll learn to type. And if she learns to type during the Christmas holidays, she can get a part-time job and help to buy toys for the 11 babies. All right, so now they're in tune. I need to go to vocational high school and learn to type. I got excited by that vision. All right, my mother even said, I had a dream about you last night. You know that beautiful red pleated skirt you have? I was 14. And I said, yes. She said, you were wearing it and you were sitting behind your very own desk. And you had your very own phone and a typewriter. Oh, I was pretty impressed. I thought, well, if my mother dreamed it, it must come true. So I did that. I did everything my father told me. I learned to cook. I could make tortillas. I know how to sew. I used to sew all my children's clothes. I would hand scrub the floors. I would wax them so that they would shine. I would starch the shirts. I would hang them up half an inch apart so that they would look crisp. I did all of that in a rat-infested dump where my children had no opportunity, couldn't even play in front of the house. So I did everything my father said, and life sucked. Right? And it wasn't until a wonderful organizer, actually there were 6 of them, came into my life and began to push and shove me, not about what are you going to do about the community, but what are you going to do about you? Why are you allowing yourself to be in this situation? Why are you not battling to make sure that you get out of here? Right? And he said to me the first time I met him, he said, you've chosen to be poor, powerless, and insignificant, and I don't know why. And I cried that night. I was so furious with this guy. And you know why I was so angry with him? Because I knew he was seeing right through me. And he didn't even know me. Right? Never met me, and he saw right through me. And I was so furious. But at the time I said, I'm just mad at him because he insulted me. But in my heart I knew, right, Maria? I knew. I married him 10 years later. He was right. He was right. Okay, so let's begin with you. All right, what does it mean to begin with you? To begin with you. Why would I need to begin with you? You're pretty decent young people. You're in college. You're on your way to a successful life. Why begin with you? You're not the problem. Or are you? What does it mean to begin with you? Anna, what would it mean for them to begin with them?
What do you want to be? What is your path to power?
Right. And what's been your own life experience? All right. So I'm going to give you one story, and then I want you to tell me one story. I was 29 years old. My father got ill. Now, my father worked for 35 years. And when I was a kid, I used to think he worked in an office. And I thought he was an executive when I was a little kid. Because every day he got up and he put on his starched white shirt, his tie, his 3-piece suit, polished his shoes. Those shoes were shiny all the time. Put on his overcoat, his hat with a brim, and he'd take his little paper sack with the tortillas, with his taquitos, and off he'd go to work. So I used to think, my father must have a really important job. Why are we so poor? But I figured that was up to my parents to figure out. One day, I'm 13 years old, and my mother says, today, you have to leave school, go straight to your father's employment. There's a door that says mill number 5. You have to stand there. Your dad is going to meet you there because he's going to send some money home to me. And that was payday, and I think something was going on. My mother needed some cash. So I went, and I'm standing there, mill number 5, and looking around. I can't see my handsome, gorgeous daddy anywhere. And then this man stands up in front of me. And I just stared at him, and I just remember being petrified. And he was wearing a leather cap and these huge goggles. And he was wearing layers and layers of clothes and high boots up to here and gloves up to here and a big apron, leather apron tied several times around his body. And he's looking straight at me, and I'm saying, I'm going to be kidnapped right now. Something horrible's going to happen to me. And he lifts his goggles, and it's my father. And I was in shock. I went home crying. I didn't know what was going on. My mother said, he works right up against the ovens. You know, when the steel is coming out hot, there's this black crud that grows on it as it begins to cool, and his job is to chip that off. He's a chipper. He always went in a three-piece suit, a white shirt and a tie. He was a proud guy. 35 years in the same company, never missed one day of work. Worked the swing shift every week, different shift. Every week, days, nights, afternoons, every week. We never knew when his day off was. Missed weddings, he missed births, he missed birthday parties, he missed graduations. Never missed work. Gave him a stupid little gold pin. 35 years, never missed one day of work. Held the company record. He gets ill, 62 years old, relatively young. Goes to the hospital, is dead in a week. 2 large tumors, one on this side, one on this side, both cancers. And I could smell every day when he'd sit at the dinner table, I could smell the steel dust on his breath, where he was swallowing steel every day. That's what killed him. But before he dies, he says to me, don't you worry. I've given 35 years of my life to this company. They're going to take care of your mother. They're going to take care of your 5 little brothers and sisters. I've got benefits. They're entitled to them. Take your mother to see Joe. This is the guy. This is the place. Fill out papers. Everything's going to be all right. 2 days later, he's dead. We bury him. I take Mom to see Joe. Fill out all the papers. My mother is entitled to $47.50 a month until the day she dies. Her and 5 children. Her and 5 children. How would you feel if you were 29 years old and left with that? Not very happy. How would you feel?
Like betrayed.
Betrayed. How would you feel? I was furious. I felt like all I remember was feeling like, how do I get even? How do I even the score? How do I make things right? Now my mother, not only does she have 5 young children, she has a severely disabled son who was my brother. He died in 1983. I'm already married. I've got little kids. We're poor because that's what I was taught to be. So now I have all of this responsibility. And I'm mad as hell. And God heard me, and he sent me 6 organizers. And these organizers began to work me over. Maria knows what that's like, right? I went through 8 years. The first 5 years, I cried all the time. Either because I was terrified or because I was so happy. I could never figure out whether I was happy. I hated the organizers and I loved them, right? I wanted to be with them and I didn't want to be anywhere near them. Why do you think that was going on? What do you think was happening with those organizers? What do you think was happening?
For sure, a lot.
What?
Like,
What do you think they were focused on?
the needs of the people.
They were focused on transforming me. Because they knew that if I changed, I would force other things to happen. So the whole responsibility was changing my attitude, changing my poverty mentality, right, Maria? Changing my poverty mentality, changing my attitude that I was nothing more than a typist, changing my attitude that I had to eat everything that hurt. Have you ever felt like you've had to eat whatever hurts you? Just swallow it, because that's what good women do. Just take it, right? Well, you're too young, or are you? All right. That was a long time ago. Now, some folks can say it doesn't happen to you till you're like 29 or 35 or 42. Is that true? Do disappointments happen to young people too? You're saying yes. Do you have a story?